Okay, sir. Let's start now. Namaste and good evening, everyone. Joining us from across the world. A very warm welcome to the global virtual launch of Amritasya Putrah, Children of the Rishis and Immortals, authored by Kanchan Banerjee and published by Blue Ink. I'm Gayatri Basumatari and I'll be your host this evening. Before we begin, I request everyone to kindly keep their microphones on mute. There will be time for questions and interaction towards the end, but as of now, I request everyone to keep your microphones on mute. This is more than a book launch. It's a celebration of our civilizational memory and dharmic identity. So thank you all for being here. It is my welcome. It is my honor to welcome our distinguished dignitaries this evening. Our chief guest, a name known and revered around the world, Padma Bhushan Dr. David Frawley, a Vedic scholar, Ayurveda Acharya, and one of the most influential voices in the global Hindu Renaissance. Sir, we welcome you. And our special guest, Sri Ratan Shardaji, a respected author, columnist, and commentator on socio-political and cultural issues, widely admired for his insights into Indian civilizational thought. We welcome you, sir. We are deeply honored by your presence today. The book we launched today, Amritasya Putrah, is the fruit of deep reflection and years of research by author Kanchan Banerjee. Kanchan Banerjee is a respected thinker, researcher, and author, as well as a leading Hindu and Indian American social leader. Over the years, he has actively supported numerous Indian and Hindu organizations across the globe. A committed yoga practitioner, his work is deeply rooted in a desire to understand India's place in the world and the reasons behind our disconnection from our civilizational past and our future. His previous book, The Crash of a Civilization, was widely acclaimed for its clarity and conviction. With Amritasya Putra, he continues that pursuit, offering not just a reflection, but a call to remembrance and renewal. And now, the moment we have all been waiting for, let us formally unveil the book Amritasya Putra. Kanchanji, could you please?
It's wrapped in saffron.
Thank you, sir. May this work find its way into many hands and awaken many minds. To share his thoughts and the inspiration behind this powerful book, I now invite the author himself, Sri Kanchan Banerjee, to address us. Over to you, sir.
Om Sri Gurave. To all assembled seekers of wisdom, Namaste. With folded hands and heart bowed in reverence for gracing this sacred conference of thought and remembrance today. I speak today not merely to thank, but to offer a garland of gratitude to those luminous souls who guided me in this journey. My deepest gratitude to each of you for your presence today. To Vedacharya Sri Vamadeva Shastriji, whose words I drank like Soma from the Vedic skies. Through his books, discourses, and silent moments that carved deeper rivers in my understanding. To Sri Ratan Sardaji, steadfast and resolute leader, whose encouragement lifted this endeavor further. To the learned keepers of Dharmic memory, Dr. Subhash Kak, Professor Arvind Sharma, Professor Jeffrey Long, Professor Ramesh Ganeshan, and Sri San Bardrick, your insights became the Shastras behind my Shram. To my family, immediate and extended, especially my wife Aimanti, for steadfast support, and to all readers who responded so generously to my first book, the crash of a civilization. I thank you all. And finally, to Blue One Ink, that Kavikula of publishing, with whom I built this yagna of thought. Sarvashri Sri Praveen Tiwari ji, Sushri Gayatri Basmatri ji, Sri Thangal Rao Hakip, Sushri Jaya Mishra ji, and the editors who stood by me through this long journey, who wove clarity through the tapestry of chaos. Accept my deepest appreciation, please. Now, to this book, this humble offering. For millennia, India, that is Bharat, a land where the spiritual, philosophical, and scientific walked together. Nay, it is not merely a land, but a luminous civilization, a peak where the soul scaled through truth's highest ranges. But somewhere between the 5th and the 19th century of the Common Era, a nation of sages and seers, scientists and mathematicians, astronomers and yoga gurus, Ayurvedic healers and global manufacturers and traders became a pauper in the court of history, a profound decline. My previous book sought the root causes of this civilizational eclipse, but then a question arose, even voiced by our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, if we have fallen, how shall we rise? I turned inward. I listened to the voices of the seers, saints, and sages. I sat with this question, like Arjun in front of the chariot, and listened not to noise, but to the silence, where the voices of Rishis echo still. And then Swami Vivekananda's thunderous utterance returned to me. Hey, Amritasya Putrah, O children of immortality, arise and awake. You are not sinners, but shapers of worlds. As the Shetashvatara Upanishad proclaims, Srinnantu Vishwe Amritasya Putra Ye Dhamani Divyani Dastu. Hear, O children of immortals, you who dwell in the celestial realm. I asked, what made this civilization so great? And I discovered 6 enduring pillars, civilizational forces that once sustained her greatness, the Dharmic foundations of Bharat. I asked again, how may we rebuild this? Not with nostalgia, but with tapas, with action aligned with Rita, the cosmic order, and Dharma, the sustaining order, principles, rules, and duties and actions of Dharma. From this contemplation emerged clarity, and thus the birth of this book. From this, today, many proclaim Bharat will become Vishwaguru. But I say Bharat always was a Vishwaguru, is now and shall ever be. For this is the land chosen by the avatars and the Rishis as their birthplace. But like Suryadeva at the age of dawn, awaiting the chance of awakened seekers, the Guru within Bharat shall rise when we discover her through our sincerity, our tapas, through our efforts, our integrity, our dharmic conviction, our return to Dharma. The gravest injustice done to this world was not merely conquest and colonization, but the reduction of Dharma into religion. The branding of this cosmic eternal order as Hinduism or Hindu religion, words too small for a soul so vast. In this book, I have tried to journey deep into the sacred, the subtle, the often silence, to recover not just a memory, but a mandala for the future generations to come. And then, through this book, I humbly attempt to explore this confusion of Dharma versus religion, and to offer a path back to the clarity and spiritual brilliance of Dharma. This book offers a reflection on how these pillars might be reconstructed in spirit and substance to restore Bharat's rightful place as Vishwagurus. So I close not with an end, but an invocation to you, scholars and seekers, let us build again, not just temples in stones, but temples in consciousness. Let this not be merely an academic pursuit. Let it be call to action, a call to remember, a call to rebuild. Bharat does not merely belong to history. She belongs to the future of humanity. Dharma rakshati rakshitaha. That which upholds us, we must uphold our.
Thank you, Kanchanji, for those insightful words. It is now my pleasure to invite Sri Ratan Shadaji to share his thoughts on this book. Welcome, sir.
Namaskar, everybody. I hope that I'm audible clearly. Actually, I found it very humbling for Kanchan to invite me to join the panel. I am anywhere near Swami Vamdev Shastri ji. Because of Kanchan, I'm sharing this dais with him as a panelist, and I thank Kanchan for this. Because your book is very scholarly. I am an activist. I am a debater. I am a writer with looking at simple people offering simple solutions. Yours is very complex book compared to the works we do, and you have dived deep. The scope of the book, though called Amritasya Putrah, is much wider than what I had hoped when I started reading the book. I had read 150 pages because Kanchan had asked me to write a preview and then scanned other pages. But for today, for last few days, I have been reading the balance 220 pages. And I will talk about those pages rather than the earlier pages, because earlier pages are something that we are familiar with. Being an RSS person, having written a lot on Hindu. So those ideas, I said, okay, fine. Those ideas, though he has gone much more deeper and much more attention paid to the Shastras and scriptures, I said, okay, that I can understand. Then I go down where he actually starts from chapter 8 to 11, where he basically focuses on Hindutva, nationalism, and misconceptions and answers to them. And I have not read Clash of Civilization, but I can understand this book is a continuation of the arguments he put forth in Clash of Civilization. That was a very daring name to give to a book. And but having said that, with civilization has crashed, he has gone on to tell us how you can rescue that civilization. And that's great. The kind of research he has done is phenomenal, because there are many things which even I didn't know. I never claim I know much, but even within what I know, there are a lot of things which I did not know. And that is the beauty of the book, because the kind of research he has done, he has brought out many aspects. For example, his quote from Swami Vivekananda on page 311, where he talks about Brahmana and Chandala while talking about Varnashram, and how how a Brahman can be a Brahman only if he tries to work for the salvation of rest of the mankind in India. And if he doesn't, he is a Brahmin only as long as he does that. Otherwise, not a Brahmin. Then there's a wonderful poem on Shivaji by Rabindranath Tagore. That also is not much known to most of the people. So that poem is beautiful about Shivaji. I read it earlier on, but I think everybody should read that particular poem. And then there is also his view that Bharat is the new battleground, because there are so many battlegrounds today in world. I think after World War II, we never had seen so many diverse battlegrounds in the world. It's not just it's not just a clash of civilization. It's clash of cultures. It is clash of one country with another. A clash of trying to dominating the world one way or the other. In so many kind of wars, there is also war of idea which is being fought on the ground of Bharat. Why I say so? Why he says so? Probably because we are the only large resistance to monopolistic exclusivist ideas that say that I or the highway, me or the highway. So this battleground where we have refused to fall for that narrative was me or the highway, and we have still believe that everybody can be brought together. That is why this, for every force that is trying to dominate or monopolize the ideologies, the ideas of the world, Bharat is the last battleground where they want to plant their cross or crescent or whatever, or even a hammer and sickle. But this is the battleground which everybody is trying to win over for last hundreds of years. We have refused to give in. So one thing that Kanchan also brings out, and we also note, is that we are the one who are not given up. That is the reason we are hated. That is the reason we are questioned. That is the reason we are somehow defamed in the on the stage of the world, as we have seen even during last few days. Today, I just saw from a tweet from my friend Kunal Jain from Florida, where he saw on the airport a Haryana boy being handcuffed, mishandled for whatever reason, because he was going out of Bharat, not inside USA, and still he was mistreated very badly. So all this is happening because they can't understand why this country, this civilization refuses to die. They have done their best. So this is the reason why it is so. And chapter 12, that where Kanchan talks about Dharma in future, or Dharma is the future, that is something where I think everybody will end up. That why Dharma is the future, and why he goes on to expound those ideas. I will not disclose those, but that is where we end up in the case that how we are going about doing it. And another interesting chapter that I find is Hinduism versus Hindutva. Because here in Bharat, the narrative is that Hinduism is a good boy and Hindutva is a bad boy. But Kanchan has taken the same ideas, tried to prove that why Hindutva is much more required, and about what is how we are trying to be misled about Hinduism. So that is something that he has stated very differently. So I congratulate him on that. One question that I have in my mind, which he can answer when he goes to question answer, is a separate chapter on Bengal philosophers on Hinduism, as he calls it. So in a book which talks of global Hindutva, talks of global ideas, why he needed to have a separate chapter on Bengali chapter of Hindu revival, Hindu Renaissance, whatever he wants to say, I would like to get an answer of that, because that creates a lot of curiosity in my mind. And the way he goes on to talk about Hindutva, the nationalism, and response to the misconceptions of Hindutva, Hindu Rashtra. So those are the chapters which boil down to the place where once you go through the earlier chapters, you try to understand. My other question would be, whom is he addressing? Is he addressing the youth, or he addressing the middle age, or he addressing old people like us? I also would like to know whether he wants to address the Indian Hindu or the global Hindu, because the arguments come from the Hindu perspective, Bharatiya perspective, but his stage is much bigger. I believe, being in US and trying to address the questions about Hindutva, I would have liked more focus on global readership rather than the Indian readership or Hindu readership of Bharat. So these are some of the questions. And another question in my mind was whether it is necessary even now to defend Varnashram, because some of the things that are given up, even Shri Guruji long back said it is that is outdated idea. And why should it defend, or for example, why should it defend Manusmriti, which we don't even read? As he rightly points out, hardly 1% Hindus have even seen the face of Manusmriti. Frankly speaking, even I have not seen it. And I am not even interested, for example. So, because these are all what we call in Hindi Kal Bahya, outdated kind of terminologies, but there's a lot of efforts there. So, there are some of the questions I have in mind, because this book is supposed to arouse questions, and we have to find our answers. He gives some answer, but for us to accept or reject those ideas and put forth your own ideas. The book is supposed to agitate you, make you think, and make you think whether he's putting the right solution or not, because you will identify with the problem, we'll identify with these issues that we see every day globally against Hindus or Bharat, and then how we address them. So he has opened a lot of doors, he has opened a lot of ideas, a lot of bookshelves at you. It is for you and us to find the answer, or maybe today he will be able to give some answers. But I compliment him on the hard work he has put in, the hard research he has put in, and the kind of sweep he has taken across the board, right from Bharat to the global stage. With this, I close my remarks. and congratulate Kanchan again. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Ratanji. And now it is with deep reverence and admiration that I invite our chief guest for the evening, Padma Bhushan Dr. David Frawley. Sir, we are honored to hear your thoughts.
Namaste, Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. It is my great honor to be with you and also to be with my friend Kanchan Banerjee of many, many years. Can you hear me okay? Hello, yes?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, very good. I have known him since at least, I think, 1990 and seen him in many contexts, whether it was with Hindu students, whether it was with Ayurveda, yoga, political, social issues in India, and also relative to the world, the United States, his strong connections and background in Bengal, and his unrelenting efforts in everything that he does. Specifically, I've also seen his books, The Crash of Civilization. I also went over, and he did that and taught what happened in a very clear, direct, and also unapologetic manner, and stopped the thing in the past of covering over these negative things and pretending they didn't happen. And you need to address that civilizational attack and challenge and even fall in order to rise up again. And that is what he is also teaching and doing in his second book here. And we are in a civilizational crisis globally now. People talked years ago about the clash of civilizations. Now, what we actually are seeing is civilizations and cultures self-destructing, including Europe, including the United States, where there's a loss of moorings in any higher civilizational values as well as spiritual values, though such teachings are available today. And in this context, we see Bharat arising from this crash, we might say, or from the domination, distortions, and reductions of the colonial era. And we have to remember that the colonial era never ended. It shifted its focus from political, military, and of course, controlling a country, to controlling education, controlling media, controlling diplomacy, and projecting an idea of civilization that is contrary to the Bharatiya model. And this has not only served to reduce the support for Bharat, it has also reduced support for many traditional cultures all over the world, whether it was Native American, whether it was ancient history, whether it is also the ancient European traditions. Now, in this context, what was needed from the Bharatiya side was a reconstruction and also a representation at a deeper level of this Bharatiya Dharmic tradition, Sanatana Dharma, what is called Hinduism today. And it's very important to see what he's done because he's quoted things so well. He's put teachings into perspective relative from the past also to the future as well. And I'm always been very much inspired by these verses of, as he says, Amritasya Putrah, Shweta Shvatar Upanishad. However, what most people don't know is these are not verses that originated there. They come from the Yajurveda. And prior to that verse is Yunjante Mana Uta Yunjante Dio. They yogically control, they yogically develop the mind and the buddhi. And this whole adhyaya, second one, I believe, of Shvetashvatara, is almost entirely verses from Yajurveda and also from Rig Veda itself, showing this ongoing tradition. Of course, we are moving to another International Yoga Day, but yoga has also been reduced and physicalized and politicized. And what Kanchan has done is gone to the origins and quoting these teachings. Another very important set of teachings come from Puranas, 18 or 20 Puranas, each hundreds of pages in length, go into great details, even lineage of kings, and all levels of Dharmic civilization, which isn't just religion. It covers art, sculpture, temples, science, medicine, every aspect of life, and also every aspect of science. Even in the Puranic and the Vedic Jyotish tradition, you have an age of the universe that is hundreds of times, billions of years older than even what modern science says today. So the educational value of his new book is very important, and I would encourage all Hindus to read it and everybody to read it who wants to understand human civilization, ancient civilization, and also the future. Because what's happened in a few centuries is not only India, but civilizations all over the world have been negated, whether it is China, Japan, Thailand, all over Africa, whether it is the Americas, whether it is the Polynesia. They crossed the ocean many, many centuries ago. And now there is the effort then to make other groups imitate this idea of Western civilization, which has been totally outward and physicalized and lacks that inner dimension. In the Vedic tradition, Sri Aurobindo, who Kanchan's work also knows very well, talk about life as an evolution of consciousness and civilization as an evolution of consciousness. And in that regard, Bharat is always the Vishwa Guru, or not just the world guru, but the universal guru, because it is looking to a universal consciousness, universal prana. It is looking to realms and lokas beyond the physical. And it is looking to a past that goes on into eternity. We don't see that civilization in the world started 5,000 years ago. That was just, we have 14 Manus, and this is just the most recent Manu. So what happens is there, by reading a book like this, you really open your awareness and insight to the vastness of the universe and the greatness of humanity and the place of Bharat and the literature. The literature of the Vedas is larger than all the literatures of the ancient world put together. And even more astounding is that it's kept alive over all these generations with the original voice of the Rishis and the great mantras. So we have seen some new development relative to honoring Sanskrit, honoring yoga, things, Ayurveda, but this has still only been at the surface. And we do see an awakening of Bharat today that has been going on through what RSS, BJP have been doing for many, many decades. And it is in the context of a tremendous economic and scientific and spiritual awakening in Bharat, such as we also saw via the Kumbh Mela. And there are still many challenges. And in this regard, there needs to be a new debate and a new discussion. Yogi Adityanath Ji has made this great statement that he respects other religions as much as they respect Sanatana Dharma. And that led me to this particular thought. We need to be as critical of other religious, political, and civilizational views as they are of Sanatana Dharma. It needs to be a level playing field and one with great critical questioning. And Kanchan has done that in both of his books and shown a tremendous paradigm that we need to take forward. It is not about being apologetic anymore, about being defensive, all religions are the same. It is not about simply trying to please everybody else. We need that sword of Viveka in order to find the truth, as Vivekananda and Upanishads say, as sharp as the edge of the razor. And we see that razor-like buddhi in Kanchan's work. And he's opening many new horizons and a future in which Bharat and Sanatana Dharma is leading rather than responding to and trying to adapt to what others are doing. Bharat teaches universal consciousness, universal intelligence, Paramatma, Ishvara. It's not limited to artificial intelligence and not limited to academic intelligence. And it says the highest knowledge is born of samadhi, deep meditation. It cannot simply be a matter of experiment or a matter of data. The highest truth, as Upanishads say, is beyond name, form, and number, Atmavidya, self-knowledge. But that is not there in our modern education. It's all based upon numbers, and now we have computer systems which are all quantitative, now being asked for the qualitative decisions on who we are and where we are going. So Kanchan has given us another important gift and contribution to this Hindu Renaissance or a rising of Sanatana Dharma. It is an eternal tradition, and bringing it out in this context in which we need a discussion. And our point of view also has to be addressed, and our teachings have to be taught by people trained in that tradition. You can't ask a non-scientist to teach science, yet we can ask a non-yogi or a non-Hindu to teach yoga and Hinduism, and even to claim to own it or represent it and to criticize the tradition and to make money out of it for themselves or to use it for their own personal beliefs. The old question of the adhikara, who has the capacity to know something. Sanatana Dharma is like a vast mountain. If you haven't even climbed the local hill of Dharma, how can you be making these statements? So that new discussion must be expanded. India context is a great place to bring it about. We have discussions between religions, which are largely just rubber stamping one religion or another. But the supreme truth is beyond all beliefs, in which everything must be questioned, in which we have a history of humanity going back many thousands of years and many ancient traditions that must come in, and which are all embraced in the Sanatana Dharma. So with these words, I would again like to congratulate Kanchan for what he has done, and also let him know that now more from him is going to be expected. And in addition, of course, he will have a larger forum. And he has gone through, you might say, walking through the fire, because he's had to address all these challenges. And he's shown where the light of Sanatana Dharma and where the true Agni, not the mere intellect, but the Brahmagni, and Chidagni, the fire of consciousness, needs to be brought in, not only to awaken Sanatana Dharma, but to bring out the true history and purpose of humanity. We are all children of immortality, but to do that, we have to be yogis. We have to follow Dharma. We have to honor the ancient sages and modern sages who in the other traditions of the world today has produced figures like Sri Aurobindo, Anandamayi Ma, Ramana Maharshi, Yogananda. There are so many great gurus today. There's Swami Avdeshananda, who's been organizing all these Kumbh Melas. And there is now a political awakening in Bharat. You cannot just surrender outwardly and let someone else rule you or control your mind. And so now we have the awakening not only of Bharat at a cultural level. We have Lakshmi coming back. We have Saraswati coming back. We have that whole civilizational cultural awakening, and that must be brought back to the youth. The youth must be inspired and brought in, and it must enter every aspect. There was this Karma Yoga Bharat initiative that was very important recently. And to bring that whole civilizational ethos into the country and the education. And it is my hope that, and my recommendation, that these books of Kanchan Banerjee be taught in every school. Perhaps it may go to a slightly older age and should be tested upon and should be discussed from a Bharatiya point of view as well as a global point of view. And we look forward to his additional books and teachings and sharings for guiding us for years to come, because certainly the world needs it today. The chaos we see everywhere, which is confounded with stupidity, blind belief, and just aggression. There's no diplomacy left. There's no real study left. But now India is representing that, and Kanchan is now one of its most important teachers and guides. And we look forward to continual study and work with him for years to come. And his work will have its own imprint on history and on the presentation of Bharat for the benefit of all, and this true awakening of Sanatana Dharma, and studying the authentic and original teachings from ancient and modern gurus and texts and practicing them relative to meditation, pilgrimage, discussion, and so forth. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frawley, for your inspiring words. So now we open the floor for questions and comments. I request everyone to please ask their questions one at a time. You can also use the raise hand feature. As you can see, Pramit ji has done the same. So we will open the floor now for any questions or comments. Kanchan ji, if you would like, we can start with Dr. Sharda's questions, and then we can take the other questions. It's on you, sir. Sir, you are on mute.
First of all, I am humbled and honored by the kind words of Bamdev Shastri ji. I owe a lot to you for your guidance for so many years, and of course, Ratanji also for your kind words about the book and myself. It will be difficult to quickly answer those two main questions that you have asked. One is why I have a chapter on Bengal. The great people who propagated the ideas of Hindutva and nationalism. It is because the last century, the reawakening of Bharat in a way started from Bengal, because Bengal encountered the West first and the colonials first. And because of this Sanghat, many of the great people from Raja Ram Roy to Bankim Chandra to Netaji Subhash Chandra to Rabindranath, and many people forget the term Hindutva was originally coined before Bir Savarkar ji by Chandranath Basu in 1892. So I wanted to have an idea of people should not forget these great people, especially for Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who has been misunderstood and forgotten in history. His contributions are yet to be fully evaluated. So that's one of the reasons I said people in the should know what these people have done for reawakening of Bharat. The second question was the audience. Actually, I did not think of the audience much when I was meditating on the subject matter. It was kind of self-discovery. I was trying to understand myself, a meditative mode. And what came out, I'm hoping it is going to be useful for anybody, any age group. But more importantly, the new generation, and as Bamdevji said, the future generations. There was a third question that was asked by Ratanji was about the Varnashram. Um, as you have seen in my book, in that chapter when I discussed the difference between caste system, the how the caste system was created by colonist in a way, and empowered, and we are suffering for that division in the society every day today. But the original idea of Varnashram, which almost every single great leader of Bharat has supported, from Vivekananda to even Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati to Sri Aurobindo. So I was trying to understand why they are still, proposing this. One thing, being in the West, one advantage we have is, here we have MIT. Few people at MIT actually, about 30 years ago, started a study of human societies at what level they are at in their consciousness, in their intellectual level. And one person, many of you know, Ken Wilber, though I'm not a great fan of him, but he has done a great job by propagating this idea, like societies. So Sri Aurobindo actually propagated this idea in recent times, and so there will be time, in my feeling, it is my feeling that there will be time that societies and individuals will be judged by their level of consciousness. We already know that there are IQs, EQs, and many other Qs, spiritual Qs. So some days coming soon, in my opinion, like these gentlemen, George Forstein and Jean Gebser, Claire Graves, these are the people who are rediscovering the idea of human evolution. So the conscious evolution is in place. And we, of all people, the Sanatanis, must understand what is this conscious evolution. And because of that reason, I kept Varnashram, and I think Varnashram is the blueprint of the conscious evolution of humankind. So I'll stop there. And I don't know if I have satisfied Ratanji's quest, but we'll talk personally at some point to learn more from you also through dialogue.
Thank you, Kanchan.
Prameet ji.
I think we have a question from Prameet ji.
Prameet ji, please.
Thank you, Kanchanji, and the entire eminent panelists for such insightful thoughts. And Kanchanji, you always inspire not just me, but thousands of people like me to do some meaningful work. So many, many thanks for all your guidance and mentorship all along. My question is more in the current context, that in the current context of the clarion call given by our Honorable Prime Minister for India to become a Viksit Bharat by 2047. How do you see the insights from your book contributing to that national mission of India being a Viksit Bharat, and how global Indians can contribute to that mission? Please.
Very pertinent question. Thank you. In my opinion, and Bamdevji can add more to it, and Ratanji also, that one thing that we know, including Sri Aurobindo, has already predicted long back that by 2035 or around this time, we're actually living in that very, very brilliant era, and we're going to witness all this happening in front of us, that in next decade or so, Bharat will return back to Dharma. It is my conviction. I'm 100% sure. But to become an economic number one, economic power, military power, I don't think Bharat never was in that path. Muscle and wealth was not, it was knowledge. So one of the pillars I have mentioned in the book, Bharat has been a knowledge society. one main pillar is knowledge. Knowledge has seeking for truth. So that I think what Prime Minister Modi ji is talking about, that almost nearly a third or maybe less now, in last 10, 15 years, people below poverty is reducing, but the number is huge. So Bharat to become Vikshit Bharat, we need to bring these people up from the bottom. And for that, every single person who claim to be related to Bharat has a contribution to make, whether it's in technology, in science, or in any field. So I think that by 2047, it is very much possible for India to become a Vikshit or developed nation. But there's a lot more work to be done, and not just the greed of um, wealth, material prosperity that will ruin us again, but material prosperity with spiritual upliftment, don't, both has to go hand by hand. Then only we will preserve the real Bharat and real civilization. And I'll stop and I'll request Dr. Frawley and Ratanji also to kindly give their thoughts in it.
Yes, namaste. Just a couple of points. Bharat does need Lakshmi. Lakshmi and Vishnu, of course, go together. There also needs to be the greater pride in the civilization and a self-definition where we use traditional Sanskrit terms to define Sanatana Dharma, and where we do not accept being defined by other groups, and where there is a pride and a universal vision in Bharat. Bharat is not just a nation among nations. As Vishwaguru, it is carrying on the spiritual banner, the yogic teachings, the Dharma of humanity, and that will help India or Bharat rise, but it also needs to be spread universally and globally. The lack of Dharma is taking the other cultures down. India needs to bring that Dharma up, and Dharma in all aspects of life and all aspects of society, which has been the tradition, and that will help everyone. And Kanchan has helped given us an insight into that, but that starts with pride, self-confidence, self-knowledge, a Bharatiya view of history, and a view of science, where we don't isolate science from the science of consciousness, which is yoga. And we don't isolate prosperity for having abundance for all and for a higher dharmic purpose for all. Hari Om.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frawley. I think we have another question, but the name in the screen still says Kanchan Banerjee. So, yes.
I'm sorry, my name is Dhruva Sen from Boston.
Welcome, Dhruva. Please.
Hi, Kanchanda. Before I forget, please change your Zoom account password because it is out the way you forwarded it. Anyways.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to ask a very, very mundane question. It's not going to be a high-level questions and discussion that is going on. I haven't read your book, but does it discuss anything to do with Gotra? Because Gotra, my Gotra is Dhanvantari. Doesn't mean that I'm a descendant of Dhanvantari. I'm just trying to understand my actual origin, from where I come from. I don't know if it is pertinent, which
very
you want
pertinent. Dhruva, very pertinent. Actually, I had a full chapter on Gotra. But I had, because of the length of the book, I reduced it to only a couple of pages. So I have written on this, and this is the only civilization on earth who traces their ancestry to a rishi, and that is the Gotra tradition. And we all should take pride in that. And genetically, actually, I'm studying genetics, and I find that it's very interesting that, there's a question about why females change their name, title, last name, and Gotra. So there is a scientific reason. I have discussed in the book actually that this part with genetics. So yes, Gotra is a very, very unique tradition the world has we have, and we should take pride in that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think we have Professor Ram. Sir, please.
Yes, sir. Namaste to all. I would like to congratulate Kanchan Banerjee for giving us a gateway for universal consciousness. This book, Amritasya Putrah. I have two questions. For my first question is how Dharma is different from religion. Now we are talking about Hindu religion, but less we are talking about Dharma. And the second thing is we have to go deeper in the research of our Vedic text. We have to decode our text, and we will find that not only they have a treasure of Vedic knowledge, all the scientific knowledge, Ayurvedic knowledge, and everything is available there. So I just would like to ask these two questions.
Thank you, Professor Sharma. I actually compared the concept of dharma with a Mahasagar. It's an ocean. The idea of dharma is so deep. I mean, I don't want to claim that I have fully understood, and I know Bamdevji is there. Bamdevji is there. He is an authority on this subject. Someone is speaking, please mute. But I just wanted to simply state, as I said, the idea concept of dharma is like an ocean. I can only talk about few waves. In my humble understanding is that dharma, by definition, is that which upholds, that which holds, that dharatija. But more importantly, dharma is about the principles, the rules, the order that holds something, whether it's a society, whether it's an individual, whether it's our environment, our everything. There is a rule. This world is rule-based. And if we follow that rule, that is dharma. If we practice, the practice is dharma. The outcome is dharma. And dharma and Mahabharata, actually, I have spent about 18 pages on dharma in the book. So I would request you to read. I have given reference to dharma from different shastras. Mahabharata talks maximum about dharma, and it many places it says dharma is what gives you prosperity. And now compared with religion, religion to me is a belief system where you have to follow particular book, you have to follow a prophet, you have to follow certain rules and regulation, and if you don't, then you don't belong to that religion, or you're a heretic if you don't, or if you criticize it. Dharma has nothing to do with this belief system. As Dr. Frawley earlier said, it's a universal consciousness. You ask question. You ask question. Upanishads are all about asking questions and finding answers. So I don't have full answer. If Bamdevji would like to add more to it, please.
Yes, very important points you've raised. I would like to add one more thing to it. Dharma, again, as you say, is not a dogma. It's not a belief. It's not a commandment. Dharma is always applied in what we call a contextual manner. You have to do what is best possible in any given circumstance. We see this throughout Mahabharata. We're not always in an ideal circumstance, and you change with time. You can't have a belief or a dharma or a dogma that says you must always wear coats. You put on a coat when it's cold, you take a coat off when it's hot. So Dharma requires adaptation, and it also means we must know how to adapt to the changes in society today and put those in a Dharmic context. AI cannot be the spokesperson for Dharma. And yet we must know how to use AI in a Dharmic manner, and we must have new principles of Dharma relative to the society in which we live, and awakening Sanatana Dharma, a universal Dharma, not, as you say, a belief system or what favors one country over another, but one that is adaptable and but not compromised. It's adapting to what is necessary today. It's not compromising to what is convenient for other people. So Dharma is the pillar. We must raise the pillar of Dharma, but we must also know how to adapt it, new temples, new principles. And I think you have given a good foundation for that. And even Varna Ashrama. Varna, if you look at it in a simple way through the Purusha Sukta, says you organize society the way you organize the human body. It's in an organic model. So we must remove these principles from how they are being distorted according to other systems. And we have to have a dharmic approach to the social order. It may not be the same as what was done a long time ago, but we have to have Dharma to prosper and survive on all levels. And that vastness of Dharma is Sanatana Dharma. Hari Om.
Thank you. And I just wanted to add one more curious thing. I know there are many hands raised. One thing I struggled with, Bamdevji, is what is Sanatan Dharma? Dharma, I get it to some degree, but why Sanatan? Then I was searching in different shastras. Is there any kind of definition what this Sanatana Dharma means? Dharma is one. I mean, we know that literally we translate as eternal, forever, and all this. But then, Mahabharata mentions Sanatan Dharma 150 times almost. So I was searching. Finally, in the Atharva Veda, I find one answer, and it's in the book. I'm not going to read that, but as Bamdevji just said, ever renewed. That is ever renewed in the context of now is a Sanatana. I give a crude example. If a river is filled with planktons, the river is dead. So you have to cleanse it regularly, and that's what we are going through today in our society. So it will become Sanatan only if we do our part to renew. I wanted to just add that. More questions.
Thank you so much. I think we have time for 3 to 4 more questions. We have Dr. Lakshmi here. And after that, we can go with, I think Prabir Banerjee ji had raised the question. And after that, Praveen Chopra ji had also wanted to ask a question. So we can follow this. Dr. Lakshmi, would you like to go first?
Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much, Dhanyavad Kanchan ji, for this book you have written. I'm sorry I have not had a chance to read it yet, but looking forward to it. And Dr. Frawley, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. I really enjoy all your videos and everything. Thank you, Dhanyavad, for all your knowledge sharing, and everybody else, the whole team. I just want to bring in, I don't know if you have addressed this in your book, Kanchanji, but we should not be very submissive about being Artha Shastra to understand, because we do need Artha to implement Dharma. So our mindset and our culture were in the Varna system, how Dr. Frawley was saying, the Vaishya Dharma should not be confused with capitalism or that mindset. So what we have as a Vaishya Dharma, we follow a Dharmic way of collecting our wealth and prosperity, and which is very important to have the Dharma Samstapana. Without Artha, we will not be able to do much, even though we have Kama to have the emotion to implement Dharma. But if we don't have Artha, like how he said, we need Lakshmi and Saraswati to be coming to Bharat. So we should not be ashamed to say, we should be progressive, prosperous, successful, our children should know it is not wrong to be successful, or having money is not a bad thing. But how do you collect money? How do you grow and be prosperous? Going in a dharmic way and accumulating wealth is what we should encourage our children. And they should not be feeling guilty that they are rich or other people are poor. But they, if all good people are rich, they will be able to do much better things than bad people are being rich. So that is one message I want to our children to have and the youth to have, because Viksit Bharat also includes all of that. It's not just only the knowledge. We need to be powerful enough to protect ourselves, and for that we need progressively, financially, and everything knowledge, not just knowledge. Then we will be again at the mercy of whoever is stronger, and they will come and invade us again. So we need to have all of those in a very
Right.
balanced way. Yeah. So the
Fully,
Varna
full,
system, what we have, the knowledge, the Brahmins, we need that. Kshatriyas, who are there to protect. Vaishyas, who are there for the business and the perseverance and to maintain the society. And Shudras, everybody is a born Shudra. Everyone is responsible to do something until they pick their profession. So um, everyone should be respected equally, and we need karyakartas to execute any decisions. So the Shudras are the karyakartas who are willing to help us and do everything. So we understand our and convey that to our children. I think we will be in a much confident to say, okay, I am rich, but I did not become rich by doing anything bad, but I am going in the dharmic way, and that way I will empower myself and enable the society and myself and my family to the extent I can.
very well
So
said, and I fully agree with you. Actually, I didn't want to, get too much deeper into it when Varnashram came. If we very simple thing, we know that there are four purusharthas, and dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and the kama and artha has to be there in order to get moksha. I mean, if you don't enjoy life, you cannot be free so easily. It is said by all our sons and sages, so no question about that. And foundation is dharma, both how you earn and how you spend. So they should be dharmic way. I 100% agree, and we need, as you said, we need kshatriyas who will protect. We need Vaishyas who will produce and distribute. And this whole system is there. I have talked a lot in the book, actually. There's a whole chapter on so-called caste system. So I hope everybody reads. But I want to mention one thing. Daridrata or poverty is a curse. It is it is seen as a curse in our Sabhyata. So
yeah,
there should not be Daridrata.
yeah,
The
exactly.
so I fully agree with you.
Many times our children says, oh, if I follow dharmic way, I'll be more like ahimsa. I'll not be strong. I'll not be able to fight. That's a wrong notion people have.
Exactly.
But in
Yeah.
fact, if you become more dharmic, you will be more stronger. You should be mentally more stronger, physically more stronger, even financially more stronger, because that's what we enable everyone to be to their best ability. So we want that message to go for the children, and
Yes.
not give like money is not important. Of course it is important, but how
I
you
agree
get it.
fully.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lakshmi. So Praveerji had a question, but he has mentioned that it has already been answered. So we have Praveen Chopra ji. Sir, would you like to go forward?
Sure. Okay, my name is Parveen Chopra. I'm a journalist, but I call myself a spiritual journalist. Dr. Frawley I've interacted with him for many, many years. Currently, I run a lotusindthemud.com spiritual and wellness web magazine from New York. Very inspired by just the title of the book, Amritasya Putrah. I first heard this phrase from Maharshi Mahesh Yogi. I used to be in the Transcendental Meditation movement. Fantastic. But where it's coming from, Kanchanji talked about it. Very, very inspiring. Wonderful. I have a question. I just thought of that. That isn't okay. The knowledge, the wisdom came from India. It has been preserved there, and so on. But isn't all human beings children of immortality? Isn't because they all human beings have the capacity to raise their consciousness and rise to the highest consciousness? That's my question.
I just one answer. Yes, everybody, every human, actually, Swami Vivekananda even said the lowest creamy kit, meaning the lowest insect, also has to rise to the Brahmana. And that is the whole conscious evolution we are talking about, that everyone has to reach the state of Brahmana, meaning knowing the Brahman. So that's our tradition. So there's no discrimination. So one thing I wanted to emphasize is children of the immortals, first, the carriers, direct inherents of these philosophies, these gems, that is people from Bharat. They must first exercise this, and the rest of the world will be benefited from it. So everybody is an Amritasya Putra, 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Praveenji, Kanchanji. Any other question or any comments from anyone?
On the lighter note, when we talk about Amritasya Putra, I many times tell people, that we are born out of sin, and that is the basic philosophy of basic philosophy of other religions. While we say we are Amrita Putra, they say we are born out of sin. That is the fundamental difference between our philosophy and the people who believe that they have got every answer to humanity. So it's a very important distinction.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ratanji.
I would like to ask something.
Professor Ram, yes, please.
Yeah. My second question was that in India, we need a serious research or decoding of our religious texts like Vedic text in the present context. Just like we are reading Dhritarashtra was blind, but he was blind in love for his son. And the other thing I was reading one day in a book, we used to read that Parsuram has cut the head of his mother, Renuka. But there is a book, Renuka Tantram, that is related with Chinmastika, in which a goddess that cuts her head herself. So we have to decode our religious text so that people do some research and they will be able to know the reality behind. These are not just text. And I would like to thank Kanchan Banerjee for giving us a kind of a gateway or a kind of a consciousness so that we can read the book and we go further, more deep into it. And he has rightly said it's duty of each one of us not only to read the books but to go further deep into the spirituality. Thank you.
Fully agreed, Professor Ramji. I would defer it to Bamdevji, but I wanted to mention one thing I have recently written somewhere, that we as Hindus should stop using terms like the monkey god. Why can't you say Hanumanji? And Hanumanji is not a monkey species. And to your point, Ramji, Hanumanji, it's a deep research. You will find in the Shastras, he was not a monkey. Then Ganeshji, the elephant god. I think we must say the right thing. Ganeshji, Ganapati. So that is one thing we need to tell our children, and we stop using this term, which doesn't have any meaning actually. Yes, for a someone who doesn't know about our heritage, maybe introductory, okay, monkey god, but then we should stop. But requesting Bamdevji to say more about the idea of rediscovering, decoding our ancient knowledge, please.
Yes, very important. And Hanuman is Vayu Putra, and Vayu is the cosmic energy on all levels. And Hanuman can make himself as large or as small. He can go at any speed. He is the Kriya Shakti of the universe. He is not, he may be manifest relative to Sri Ram in a certain way, but he has a cosmic orientation. Ganesha, Gana means also number, organization, and principles. So the whole structure of the universe is there through the knowledge of Ganesha. Now, Ganesha is also another example of the head being cut off. And we must understand what that tells us, the need to go beyond the mind. That's what the cutoff head is. You have to go beyond this outer mind to an inner vision. And that is why we have these teachings that take us beyond our ordinary views. And then one last point I would like to address here, India as a knowledge-based culture. Now, we have this idea of the Jnana Shakti, but Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti always must go together as the two wings of the bird for the bird to fly. So there must be the Kriya Shakti for the Jnana Shakti and the Jnana Shakti for the Kriya Shakti. Hari Om.
Thank you so much. So I think this is it. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so we won't be able to take any other questions. However, I have mailed our official email ID in the chat. So if there is any question or any comment regarding the book, regarding Kanchanji, any query regarding how to purchase it, whether in India or outside, you can mail us in the email ID I have mentioned in the chat. It is editors@blueone.inc. So before I thank everyone, there is a small request. I would request everyone to switch on their cameras just for 2 seconds so that we can capture this memory of this book launch. So in 2 seconds, could we please switch on our cameras, everyone? Okay, this is great. So let me just capture a photo. Everyone smile, please. Thank you so much. So with this, we have come to the end of this event. I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to everyone, to Dr. David Frawley, to Dr. David Frawley ji and Dr. Ratan Sharda ji for not just gracing this event, but elevating it with their presence and wisdom. To our author, Shri Kanchan Banerjee, for giving us Amritasya Putrah, a book that reminds us of our true inheritance. And all of you who joined us tonight from India and many parts of the world, thank you for being a part of this journey. Let this book not just be read, but remembered. Thank you so much. Namaste.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.